Chapter 1. A Cursed Rabbit. I had grown up in the small town of Middleford my entire life and had heard many strange stories about the woods. Some told wild tales of monsters and witches, while other stories were calmer, like a woman who'd adopted a rabbit with bright red eyes. So when I decided to take a walk into the woods one day and stumbled across a small rabbit with the same eyes, I could barely contain my excitement. I quickly scooped the rabbit up, cradling it in my hands. Its bright eyes hypnotized me, and I knew that I'd found a new best friend. I instantaneously knew that its name should be Kiko. Little did I know I was about to take home much more than I bargained for. Chapter 2. Nightmares Come Alive. It wasn't until I brought Kiko home that I started noticing strange things. Hey, I suffer from chronic nightmares, but for some reason, these nightmares were becoming more vivid and realistic. I would open my eyes in the middle of them, but the dream felt too real, like I'd actually been in the dark forests of the nightmare. Kiko just stared at me with those bright eyes like it knew something I didn't, and that somehow it could control my nightmares. I tried to shake off the feeling, telling myself that I was being silly, but something in the back of my mind couldn't help but believe that the rabbit was cursed. Chapter 3. The Witch's Curse. I was determined to get to the bottom of the rabbit's mysterious behavior. So, I started toying around with the idea of doing some research. I scoured the library looking for any information on cursed rabbits. Each book I read only brought about more questions. Then, one day, I stumbled across an old book dedicated to the legend of a mysterious witch and her cursed pet, a rabbit. The legend spoke of an old witch who'd been wronged by the villagers and cursed the rabbit so that it would slowly bring the nightmares of whoever touched it to life. I quickly put two and two together. A chill ran down my spine, and I knew that I had to find a way to break the curse before it was too late. Chapter 4. Mysteries of the Rabbit. As time passed, I slowly began to unravel the mysteries of the rabbit. I discovered that while its eyes still glowed bright red, it had some kind of control over my nightmares. When I woke up, I'd be in the same environment I'd been dreaming about, and the same creatures that had populated my nightmares would still be lurking in the dark corners. The rabbit was awake during these occurrences, and I soon realized that its power was rapidly growing. Chapter 5. The Constant Nightmares. I was becoming increasingly paranoid as the nightmares only became more intense. I started sleeping less and less and less and stopped going out, unsure of what other kinds of creatures might be lurking in the dark. My friends had started to worry and tried to come over and help me, but I refused to be around anyone. I was convinced that I was cursed and that if I stayed alone, I could protect them. With every passing day, I was losing a bit more control and becoming less and less sure of myself. I knew that I needed to find a way to break the curse in order to save my own life and those of my loved ones. But the more I researched, the less certain I was that I was capable of doing so. Chapter 6. The Final Choice. My research had led me to a grim conclusion. I only had two options. Either I find a way to break the curse or accept the rabbit's power and live with the consequences of bringing my nightmares to reality. I struggled with the decision for weeks, sleepless, anxious, unsure of which path to take. Finally, I realized that the only chance I had of saving my own life, and those of those around me, was to end the Kiko's life. It had become too powerful and the consequences of its curse too great. So I took a deep breath, gathered my courage, and prepared to make the sacrifice. I was about to take the life of one of my closest friends. What would have you done?